What's going on, guys? Brandon here, Legacy Group Real Estate Team. This is, quite frankly, just stuff you're not going to hear anywhere else. And, you know, this is really not stuff you hear from your realtor, hear from your real estate team, your real estate professional. This is not stuff you hear anywhere. This is not stuff we're taught in school. It's why Americans love free stuff. It's why we're all addicted to free stuff. It's why we think the government should give us everything and we deserve everything from the government. And, you know, it's interesting because not that long ago, John Kennedy said, early 1960s, I'm not sure what year, but it was early 1960s, and he said, ask not what your country can do from you, but what you can do for your country, right? And we have really gotten away from that. So, you know, what are a few things that have led us to that, and then what are things that are going to come out about because of that? Well, there's a couple things. Richard Nixon, you know, there's a lot of entitlement programs, and the government's kind of usurped a lot of our freedoms because of that, and taken that off of our, you know, personal responsibility to do that. So they've kind of taken a lot of that off of our hands. Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard in 1971, therefore creating a fake currency. It's not money anymore, it's currency. It's just paper, that's all it is. It's not backed by anything. It's not backed by gold and silver. So those are some of those big things, which is what it now allowed us to do, allowed the government to do, is print money, which is QE, quantitative easing. So, you know, money printing, quantitative easing the money supply, making it easier for your, you know, money to be printed, but also easier to really accumulate money. And make it easier and more expansive, because when money goes into deflation, there's less money, then it's harder. It's the contraction of the money supply, and it's not as hard to get your hands on because people are hiding it under their mattresses, for the lack of a better term. So we have QE, which is why we have seen inflation, which people might say, Brandon, we haven't seen inflation. Well, we have, right? How many of us have gone and seen a bag of chips at the store and we're like, man, this thing used to be like full back in the day, and now it's only half full, and wow, that cereal box is, you know, a third of the size it used to be, half the size it used to be when I used to get it 10, 20 years ago. That's inflation. They're just hitting you in different ways. We're not seeing it at the level we might have, you know, remembered it 30 years ago, 50 years ago. So it's just different now, and it's hitting us in different ways. And believe me, we've exported a lot of our inflation as well. And what that means is we have goods and services we make. We make little, you know, widgets. We make, you know, a cross and chain, whatever the heck it is. We make something, and then we export it. And this is America. We export it over to other countries, and we export those, you know, those dollars. Sorry, I'm doing this backwards. We have our dollars, and we export our dollars over because they have all the goods. They're making all the goods, and we get these products back, and we export these dollars out. We're using dollars, the currency, to get those products. So we're trading paper for actual things. So again, this is why Nixon took us off the gold standard, because we were losing all of our gold. People were repatriating their gold, and all of a sudden we were running short on gold. There was basically a run on gold, and he had to take us off the gold standard, or else the world would have collapsed in essence. So now it's enabled governments. It's backed by nothing. We can print, which again, it increases the money supply, making, you know, everything inflation. Inflation obviously is something that makes things more costly. You know, grandfather's house that was $8,000, you know, 50 years ago or 70 years ago, that thing is now $400,000, $500,000 because of inflation. So it takes more of those paper dollars to buy that same exact thing. That same house, that house hasn't changed. Same exact house. Now it takes 400,000 of those bills to buy what 8,000 used to buy. ZIRP and NIRP. These things are here and they're coming. ZIRP is zero interest rate policy, and NIRP is negative interest rate policy. This is what we've already seen. We've already seen these in different parts of the world, Japan, Europe, NIRP as well, negative interest rates in those same places. This is something that we've already seen zero interest rates here, and that really hits savers. Savers are losers. And it's because you can't just put money in the bank and expect to live off that, expect to get interest off that. You get nothing. You know, you get money in the bank and you get peanuts back. You get just cents, a couple of pennies back, because there are no interest rates. It's very cheap. We are now in a debt-based society. So we are in a debt-based, that's why investing in real estate, rental real estate, is so huge, because debtors are the ones that are winning. We're a debt-based society. The dollar is debt. It's not money. Gold and silver is money. It used to be backed by that. It used to be equities. Now it's debt. We're in a debt-based society. So when you go into the stock market, you're in equities. where the people that are really winning are in the debt. They're in rental real estate, stuff like that, where they're going into debt and producing cash flow. So zero interest rate, negative interest rate. Negative interest rate is really interesting because that is, Denmark's already trying this. They're giving, instead of, think of this, instead of you have a house that you're paying for, you're paying interest on that every single month. Think about if you are getting paid interest every single month. So instead of that, the bank is paying you interest every single month for every mortgage you hold. So you don't have that P&I anymore. You got just principal, and then you're getting paid interest. That is as your cash flow. So think about how important it is. Again, why savers are losers, because you're getting hit. Negative interest rates are you paying the bank to hold your money. You are paying the bank to hold your money instead of you getting interest. So negative interest rates, you're paying the bank to hold your money, and then you're getting paid to hold mortgages. Again, another reason why debtors are the winners and savers are losers. Forward guidance, these are things that are coming. Things are here and things are coming because of the life we've chosen to live over the last 100 years and not take responsibility for things. Forward guidance is just the Fed, the government speak, just saying, oh, we're going to be good. Everyone hanging on pins and needles what the Fed's going to say. Oh, we're going to be fine. We're going to do this and that. And the market kind of going up and down and watching what words come out of officials' mouths. Currency wars, things we're seeing right now as well. This is the devaluation of the dollar, devaluation of the yen, things like that. When our goods are cheaper, our dollar is cheaper, then it's easier to export goods, stuff like that. So you can do more business, obviously. But again, this affects other countries now. So America might win, or China might be winning, but now it affects other countries. Because when China does it, it affects America. And when America does it, it affects China, and it affects emerging countries, because we're in a global society now. So this is a dangerous way to live. Another one. These are all dangerous ways to live, really. But and then the last but not least is helicopter money. So when all else fails, there's helicopter money. And these things, this is not in your textbooks. Go ask your economist, your professor from college. That's not in the books. Negative interest rates, that's not in the books. Helicopter money, this is stuff that it's really kind of for the movies. And helicopter money is you getting, everything else is failing. You're going into hyperinflation, basically. And there's trillions of dollars. You're getting paid every dollar you've ever paid in income tax back. You're getting every tax you've ever paid back, and it seems great for a moment. You're like, wow, this is amazing, until you realize that everyone on the street, everyone in your city, everyone in your state, everyone in your country all got the same thing. And now what happens when there's a mass amount of dollars? Like when these dollars all come back to roost and they come back home at some point, now bread becomes $500,000. Because those dollars there's so many of them. We just haven't seen a lot because we've exported a lot of our inflation. We've kind of hidden it in different things. Our food bags are smaller. We've exported a lot of the inflation. So when that does hit someday, or when helicopter money comes in and the government's just giving money to try to spur the economy, because that's what they try to do. Keynesians are the ones that runs our government right now. John Maynard Keynes was a big economist in the 20th century, in the 1900s, early, and he was big on this, and he was big on stimulus. But again, the crazy part about this is, again, when they give that money, you're taxed back on that. So it's just crazy. But again, this is why Americans love free stuff. And again, how does it relate to you? What is going to happen? What happens to your housing prices? Well, housing prices, in theory, should go to the moon. They should, if you're printing and going in hyperinflation, this is happening, housing prices will go way, way up. Again, but also all your living costs will go way up. Your senior living for your elderly parents, your grandparents, food prices will go up, obviously. Everything will go up. Everything goes up. And we have so many examples of this across the world throughout the years of hyperinflations and things like that, and deflations were the Depression, things like that, hyperinflation like in Zimbabwe 10 years ago, the Weimar Republic 100 years ago. We have a ton of different examples of that, and who knows what will happen. Like right now, for the time being, this might go on. They say we might be coming into a recession. We already are in one. This really might go on. I think there's going to be a big, massive event at some point, but it might be another 5 years. It might be 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, because we keep doing these things just to stave that off and kind of kick the can down the road, because that's what politicians and officials are great at, obviously, is they don't want it to go and collapse on their watch. So these things are being bantied about, and this is forward guidance. They're talking about doing this, talking about doing that. They're doing a lot of these things already. They're doing this. they haven't done this. This is really a last resort. But they're doing a lot of these other things. And it's really all to stave off the problems that are in front of us. And again, you know, this is a time to get prepared. There's still time. The time to get prepared and hedge yourself, finding rental real estate, gold and silver, you know, learning, you know, stock options and how to hedge yourself when the market does go down. Because I know many of you have 401ks and IRAs and things like that you've been paying into for years, and hedging yourself against those problems that are in the future. So why we love free stuff, because we can print, you know, we see a lot of talk about modern monetary theory now. And this is, you know, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is a lot of the Bernie Sanders types and things like that, where they think, you know, hey, we can just print everything into oblivion, and we can just pay, you know, hundreds of trillions of dollars just because. But really, they're just taxing you in the end. It's a stealth tax. Inflation is a stealth tax. It's basically taking your wealth over the long term. It's not, you know, hey, we're going to up your taxes next year. It's just a stealth tax over time that, you know, just basically erodes your wealth as time goes on. And this is, you know, hey, we can pay everything for everyone, free college, free everything, you know, UBI, universal basic income. We'll just pay you to sit at home and do nothing. And, you know, again, that's a debate for a different day as to what's right, what's wrong. However, that's the stuff that's being talked about. That's the stuff that's coming. Are we those people? Are Americans those people? Is the world? Are we those people? Well, we just don't work. We don't do anything. And not to say work's a bad or a good thing, but are we people who just sit around and do nothing? You know, personally, I believe that, you know, ingenuity and you know, good things come about people in action. It's not so much work in essence, but it's action, taking action, doing things, using your mind, using your body, and getting out and doing stuff and creating new things. So anyway, that's a little bit of what's going on right now. That's where we kind of a quick synopsis of where we've been, where we're going, and what's going on right now. So it's really the past, the present, and the future. And like I said, I think we have a little bit of time, just because, granted, this thing should have crashed years ago. And you know, I've had people over the years like, you know, oh, you know, you said it's going to crash years ago. Well, yeah, it should have. You know, everything told us it should, but they're doing things that are unheard of. Negative interest rates. I mean, that's not even in textbooks. They're doing things that are staving that off for the time being. And who knows? I mean, who knows how long it can run? It's going to run a little bit longer for sure. I mean, this election is coming up. Elections are always crazy. They're going to try to stave it off as long as they can. We'll see. So I would appreciate all of your comments, your questions, your concerns. It's something that's very, very interesting, and it's going to affect all of us. And it already is, whether we know it or not, through many stealth ways, through quantitative easing and inflation and things like that. So questions, comments, concerns, appreciate them all. Look forward to doing the next one for you guys. Just kind of like our emergency action alert of just, you know, what's kind of going on right now and, you know, where things are going. So appreciate you guys more than anything, your time, your energy. It's the most important thing we have. If you're on the podcast, please go check at Legacy Group MI on YouTube and Facebook, and go put your questions, comments, concerns there. We'll answer them there. And appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one.